Alright, I'll be starting in a sec. Doing KSP tonight, showcasing something that I've been working on. So, starting shortly. Hello. What's up, Lord Tuk Tuks? Lord Tuk Tuks, you want to see what I'm working on? Yeah, it's pretty much done. Can you hear me all right? Is the audio good? Are you and Dylan still there at your grandparents' house? Does Dylan have a Twitch account? Does he use Twitch? Oh, he already dropped you off at your place? Alright. Cool. So, yeah, I think I have this done. I did a few tests off stream. I just kind of felt like streaming and having this on record so I could look back at it. And I figured why not live stream it as well. He watches debate stuff. Oh yeah, he was talking to me about that. He watches Hassan Abi. I used to follow that channel. Alright. So, yeah. I think this is ready to go. So, for context, this is a analog, as best as I could get it, to the failed Soviet N1 rocket. I'm calling it the K1 because KSP. This launched 4 times in the late 60s and early 70s, and it blew up every time. It was supposed to send cosmonauts to the moon, and it didn't work out. I wish it worked, so I'm doing it in KSP. And also, it was just a fun project to challenge myself with. I actually did this all just yesterday, so it didn't actually take me all that long, but it was still pretty difficult. So, yeah, I'm just gonna do the thing. If you have any questions, just ask. I made it look similar as best I could. I can show you what the real one looks like. Wait, let me... That's what it looks like. So I can put that over here, and then let me scroll out. And then, yeah, so I have this stuff in the upper stage in the spacecraft. I couldn't do this truss structure. This is used for hot staging where the engines fire while it's still attached. And this is a really big rocket. Apparently they had grid fins on the bottom. Well, not grid fins, but just like weird non-grid fins. And I couldn't do this flare of the fuselage at the end, so I tried to do it using fairings. Like this stuff that's up here, I tried to build it out at the bottom, but I just went with using these fuel tanks and having them exposed, and it still works fine. This has 40 plus engines at the bottom instead of the, I believe the N1 had 30 on its first stage. Yeah, 30 NK15 engines. 30 of those, which is insane. The Saturn V, which was the equivalent, had 5 F1 engines, which were a lot more powerful, but it had fewer of them. This had 30, and that's the reason this thing failed, is because they couldn't get all 30 of the engines to cooperate. But yeah. But performance-wise, it performs mostly the same as the N1. But yeah, you don't need to worry about all that. Let's just launch it. Those things drop away. And start the roll so that I'm heading in the right direction when I pitch. And roll program complete, and now I'm starting to pitch. You can see the degrees down here. And at 350 meters per second, I will throttle down to keep the max Q aerodynamic effects to a minimum. And then once I get out of the thick part of the atmosphere, I'll throttle back up. So similar to the Saturn V's launch profile in that way. Alright, at 12.5 kilometers, I'll throttle back up. So I'm using a mainsail engine, I believe 8 Kodiak engines, and then a set of LVT 45s on these outer parts, and those are used for gimbal thrust vectoring, which is how I'm able to pitch so precisely. And first stage separation. On the second stage I have 5 Kodiaks. Kodiaks have 4 individual engine bells. And then I used 4 vector engines for thrust vectoring, and because they have a lot of gimbal range. Whoa, pitched down a bit too much. Actually, I'll go to 150. Oh, I went past it, whatever. It's fine. Yeah, it's only a little bit complicated. I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, it's not rockets. Oh, wait. It is rocket science. Oops. Alright, I have an inclination of 1 degree that I have to change. It's not that complicated. Like, in the game, it's not as complicated as the real thing. I don't have to worry about, like, maintaining chamber pressures and optimizing fuel and oxidizer flow and anything like that. Yeah, I'm more just explaining all this just for future reference. If me or anybody else goes back and watches this, they'll know how I designed this. I'm not expecting you to know or care about all these intricacies. I'll put it at 154. Alright. Oh, and I have, oh, I should have done this before, but whatever. I guess I can do that right now. That and that can be staged. The launch escape system up here. So we can watch that get fired off. Oh, it's separated, but it's just not, it didn't detach, because I have to do that. I'm going to get it lined up with the maneuver node, and then I'll speed up time until the burn. Yeah, see, it's floating away. it'll burn up in the atmosphere. Alright, it's going to be a 13-second burn. I might drop this stage early. Okay. Activate RCS. I have 4 vernier engines on here for that RCS. Okay. And disable RCS now. Let's raise this up. 445 meter periapsis. That's a little bit low, just a little bit. Huh, 154, 747. I'm almost lined up with the, being in phase with where I need to go, but I'll go around in orbit. I need to adjust my inclination anyway. Let's go anti-normal. And then warp over there. So let's see how close to 0 we can get this number. Apparently pretty close. Alright, so over here. Let's get this optimized. 650. Sure, that looks good. And I'll put the initial altitude at about 500. Alright. Oh hey, Munniy Lin, yeah. Welcome to the stream, and yeah, this is KSP. The spaceship rocket thing game. I don't know if you got my message yesterday during your stream, right before your stream crashed. I said, yeah, if you're at all interested in this game, I've helped a lot of new players on Twitch that started streaming this game just kind of learn how No, Tuk Tuks, that's not Dylan. Yeah, it looks complicated, but it's not all that complicated. I mean, I say that, but it's probably really complicated. But yeah, if you at all are interested in this game, I'd be more than happy to teach you the basics. But yeah, Mully, you definitely need to check out that witch hunt game. I think you'd really like that. Actually, Tuk Tuks. Feels weird calling you Tuk Tuks. I don't want to say your real name. Get you like doxxed through my Twitch stream. Um, oh yeah, you should also check out this game called Witch Hunt. It's this like horror shooter game. You're like walking around this like woodsy area, and you have like a musket, and you're hunting witches and ghosts and stuff. And I'm starting my burn right there. Yeah, I think you'd like it. It's a very atmospheric game. I don't think it's on Xbox. I know that it's on Steam. It might be. I don't know if it's on console. It might be. But yeah, that's right. You don't have a PC, which is a shame. Ooh. 0.7 meters per second I stopped it at. It's pretty accurate. Just gonna bring that down a little bit. I feel like I'm like the Bob Ross joy of painting right now of KSP. I'm like, there's like viewers at home following along. And we'll thrust our happy little rocket engine here just a little bit, just like that. Isn't that nice? And now we'll go ahead and time warp over to the encounter. Just like that. There we go. There goes the planet. Going away behind us. Alright, I'll stop. Yeah, there's like a 24/7 Bob Ross Twitch stream. There's also a, it's not on right now, but there's a 24/7 Carl Sagan Cosmos Twitch stream that I follow. It just plays the episodes over and over. I like both of those. It's cool that they got like the license or whatever so that Twitch could just have that. Because not only are those good shows, but they're, you know, educational, insightful. Okay. And I will bring this down to... let's say 50. I'm not following the exact same flight profile that was planned for the N1 or for the LK mission stuff. But I'm following one that makes sense and works, so it's fine. You're gonna let Dylan know my stream is lit? I mean, And that's a compliment, I guess. I mean, the rocket engines, they light up, so I guess so. During this next burn, I'll show you what the rocket engine looks like when it's firing. Alright, 56 seconds. I'll go forward a bit. It's only a 12-second burn to capture. Alright, 5 seconds. And burn. It's pretty cool. 0.7 seconds again. 0.1. Nice, right on the money. Oh wait, okay, good. So in my tests, for some reason the fuel tanks up here on the landing craft was draining, so I had to disable these. For some reason it was passing through this, and it was like going into this fuel tank and being burned. These down here are also fuel tanks. Baguette, because it looks like a baguette, I guess. Yeah. Alright. Next step is I guess circularize. Right. Yeah, I hope even if this is like kind of confusing, you don't know what's happening on the screen, I hope it's at the very least, entertaining. Basically, I'm just slowing down so that I'm in an orbit that's at roughly the same altitude all the way around. Because that's what the craft that's remaining in orbit will be at, so that when I'm returning from the surface and rendezvousing, I don't need to worry about having a high point of my orbit or a low point. I can just rendezvous anywhere. And I'm gonna thrust limit that to 50 for extra precision. It's sick as fuck. Nice. If you hear my keys are like really clicky, it's because I'm using a keyboard from like 1996. Because someone gave it to me, and it's actually a pretty nice keyboard, but it's really loud. Okay, I'm gonna have to find a place that's both on the daylight side and also has line of sight back to the, mission control. And that seems to be this little sliver here. So if I land on the rim of this crater, I think that'd be a good place. Okay. F5. Save there. Oh, I sent Dylan the link as well already, but thank you. He's trying to log on. Alright. So what I gotta do here is extract the... I keep wanting to call it the Lunar module, but it's not. I'm a stupid American. This is Soviet lunar craft. It is not capitalist American lunar module. Alright, so I have to... Wait. Transfer crew. Oh. Alright. I think it's time. Okay, let me F5 right there. Decouple node. Now let's watch this thing do its job. Beautiful. It's like an elegant dance in orbit around the moon, just like Apollo, except more Russian. So with Apollo, they had 2 crew go to the surface. In the Soviet plan, they had 1 crew go to the surface. And then the other crew would remain in orbit. Let's watch this gear deployment. Nice. Now my instruments are, yep, displaying the readings. Nice. Alright, radio panel is activated. Not that I'll necessarily need it, but okay. So over here, let me set a descent maneuver. Right over this crater here, I guess. Alright, and that is a 5-second burn. Let's activate this in it. Well, I can just do it through staging. There. And let's turn on the fuel lines. Make sure these are also on. So similar to the Apollo lunar module, the part with the landing legs and the some of the fuel remains on the surface. But unlike the Apollo lunar module, the ascent stage uses the same engine. So I had to design this with a decoupler that's built up around the fuel tanks and around the engine. And during liftoff from the surface, this part will separate, and these fuel tanks will continue. They'll stay part of the craft, and that's what will fuel it back into orbit. But these fuel tanks and the landing legs and these monopropellant tanks and these RCS thrusters and these antennas, those stay on the surface. And I can actually show you a model. Alright, so that's a model of the real thing. And yeah, here's a diagram. So this part stays on the surface. This part, the fuel tank, the pressurized section, and the RCS up here, and instrumentation stays part of this. But this stuff is deemed unnecessary. So this is used as a launch pad for when it's taking back off. There's a CG render. That's a model of it compared in size to the lunar module. All right. So yeah, I hope that makes sense and makes this design more clear about what everything does. All right, and yeah, I think I can warp to the maneuver. Okay, 15 seconds before the maneuver, I'm going to do a quick save. I only really researched this one day. I didn't know enough about the Soviet lunar landing program as I'd liked to have known. So I just, on a whim, started reading about it and said, hey, I'm going to do this in KSP. I knew a little bit about it, like I knew the basic, like what the craft was. I knew about the N1 rocket, but I want to do, I'm not eating cereal, I'm eating soup. I'm trying to be really quiet. So yeah, if you hear that noise, that's what that is. Yeah, I wanted to do a bit of research just so that I was doing this somewhat accurately. Ooh, look at that hot engine bell. Oh, and I have these things. I had to put fuel ducts going up here through the decoupler up to this fuel tank, because these weren't being able to transfer fuel to this engine if I just placed them on there. The root part of these tanks is actually this little strut here behind the landing leg. Yeah, I think this thing came out pretty well. I have a surface scanner on there. Alright. And I'll stop my rotation. Pointing retrograde. And we have line of sight to the ground. We're coming in. There's that crater. It's a pretty cool view. Where's my... Oh. The other craft is pretty far away now. It's over there. 31 kilometers away already. I haven't even done... Well, yeah, I did that one burn, so... That's why. So yeah, you can see I'm descending now. And I think I want to come down maybe right here. This looks like a flat area, so... Let's add a lateral velocity arrest maneuver. And there, then I'll be coming straight down, which is desired. And that's a 37-second burn. So is Dylan logging onto Twitch right now? Because if he is, then it'd be cool if he could catch this cool stuff that's about to happen. Let me fix this really quick. This vessel is not a ship, it's a lander. Alright, starting burn in 10 seconds. And burn. He has to make a new account? Why? He should just be able to sign in to his existing one. My seismic accelerometers are functioning. And look at that. And now I can just point straight up and down. extend the ladder. Yeah, temperatures are like completely fine. He said he can hear, but he can't hear me right now. Well, that's weird. If you can hear me, then he can hear me. And let's start this landing burn. We're cooking right now. We're going like 190 meters per second. Let's bring it down to less than 10. And I'll just idle the engine a little bit. Keep the velocity down. There's my shadow. And a little bounce. And alright, engine stopped, contact light, all of that good stuff. Yeah. Da is good moon landing. He can hear but not see. Alright. Yeah, that landing was a bit bouncy. These landing struts had to work for it, but I'm on the ground just fine. Nice, I had a line of sight and I had a nice shallow angle so I could see my shadow coming down, which helped with the landing. Alright, time to do the EVA. Have him climb down the ladder. He doesn't have a footpad to step on like Neil Armstrong did. He just goes right on the surface. Look at him. They always look so like derpy. Well, I should have loaded the Soviet flag. Oh, there he is. What did you miss? Well, as you can see here, some things have happened. Yeah. Some things have happened. Events have transpired. That worked out perfectly. Those things drained. Nice. There's not really any rocks really close by. I don't feel like running over to any of those. Let's run over here and get a surface sample. Somewhere that hasn't been affected by the engine. Nice. Basaltic rocks, my favorite. The dust is getting everywhere. Alright. That's good enough. This little comrade came, saw, and now he's gonna leave. Well, he's not going to leave quite yet. He needs to wait for his friend to come back around. He needs to wait for his 1960s Soviet space Uber to come back around. Can you find moon men? These are the moon men. Speaking of moon men,
A man goes riding by. A man goes riding by. It is the very error of the moon that makes men mad.
getting ready to lift off again. 5.
An orbit laden with white fire laden, mortals call the moon.
And our man is poised for one of the greatest moments in time.
That was Moon Men by Jake Chudnow. It's a good song. And 3, 2, 1. Uh-oh. There we go. Bye-bye. And pitching over to east. Lining up with the target inclination. Good. Let's see, what altitude is this? Let's get that intersect just up to 50. And then we're gonna be near each other right here, and it's just gonna be a matter of me speeding up.
The glory of Greece.
The grandeur of Rome, the renaissance of Western civilization. The moon,
It is Sunday, July 20th, 3:17:42 p.m. The moon. Sunday, July 20th, 3:17:42 p.m.
Honor for us to be able to participate here today in peaceable nation.
And our man is poised for one of the greatest moments in time.
The moon.
Alright, it's coming up behind me, so that means I need to there's an intersect. .4 kilometers, I'll take it. So yeah, you like that music? It's good. This is part of an album called The Moon EP by Jake Chudnow.
Time and space. This is the mysterious traveler. The mysterious traveler. This is the mysterious traveler. The mysterious traveler.
Realms the strange and the terrifying. You get a good grip on your nerves.
From the far horizon of the unknown. Time and space.
And there's the link to it right there. Wait, no, not that link. There we go. That link. That's a link to the album on Discogs. Use my smartphone to read chat. I want to get a second monitor though, eventually.
I felt something bite into my neck. I thought, so long. It's been fun.
Oh, that was close. Let's target the docking port. I can show you guys how orbital rendezvous works. Let me get myself lined up here. I don't have a gaming monitor, I have a TV. I'm planning on getting a gaming monitor though. See, this is how you rendezvous and dock. You just do rotational and translational. You know, side to side, front, back, up, down, burns, and then you just slowly come in. And you get lined up. And then it's just good old-fashioned physics after that. Impulse and reaction, and every time you burn you have to cancel it out in the opposite direction. It can be difficult. Can easily be messed up if you're not careful. And there we go. Capture. And the comrades greet each other. I never even extended these. That's weird. I thought I had them set to the gear action group, but oh well. I used to have a face cam, a webcam, and I plan on getting a new one. I had one that was built into the old PC I was using, so yeah, I'm gonna get a new one. If you look on my channel, there's like a whole list of my old streams going back several years, and you can see I had a webcam. Plan the return maneuver. With proper guidance and direction, it wouldn't take that long. I've actually done it quite a bit with people streaming KSP on Twitch. Taught people the basics of the game. So yeah, I mean, if you're interested, I could definitely, if you're interested in getting the game, I could teach you what to do and how it all works. I'm just gonna keep playing this Jake Chudnow music because it's good. Couple channels that I recommend on Twitch for KSP are EJ_SA and Das Valdez. They both do really good in-depth content on the game. Yeah, it's quite a bit worse on console. Yeah, there's a lot of YouTube tutorials. That YouTuber I told you about, Scott Manley, you should check him out if you're interested. He's like the #1 KSP guide. He has a lot of content on his channel. Some of it's outdated because he's been doing KSP for a long time, but there's a lot of good stuff on there for learning about aerospace engineering and rocket science and orbital mechanics. And it's all stuff that's applicable to the game because the game is pretty realistic. And that's why I like it. a decent computer. That'd be cool. I've been passionate about space and astronomy and spaceflight pretty much my whole life, as far back as I can remember. It's only been the past 5 years or so that I've really gotten knowledgeable about it, but I've always been interested in it. I mean, Lord Tuk-Tux can vouch for me. He probably remembers me being into like space in like kindergarten. Spheres of influence. There it goes. Space is weird also. Yeah, space is pretty weird. Using this spent stage as a heat shield. will all be burning up. This has an ablative heat shield. You can see it's using up some of the ablator. Alright, so on Monday you'll be working on the canvas. Cool. Still going supersonic. They're on the ground. What are you guys talking about? Making business cards and making more canvas frame things? I landed over in the middle of nowhere, which is similar to Russia. It was all black because it was just loading. So yeah, I can show Dylan the whole thing since he got here late. This is the vehicle that performed the launch. It's based on the Soviet N1, which was supposed to carry humans to the moon in the 1960s, but it blew up on all 4 of its test launches. So there you have it. You just witnessed me do a analog replica of the planned but never completed Soviet moon mission. Let me fix this. No, there was nobody on the on any of the rockets. It was just test payloads. Nobody died. These are on there. Toggle solar panel. Why weren't they working? That's weird. What about this one? Yeah, that's on there. These are on there. Oh well. I guess it wasn't something I was doing wrong. Nope, the Soviet moon missions never killed anybody, although the rockets failed. The US space program, the Apollo program, although the rockets never failed, they performed fine. All 20 plus Saturn V and Saturn 1 and Saturn 1B launches. But on Apollo 1, the crew died, and they didn't even leave the ground. The capsule caught on fire while they were performing tests on the launch pad. It was an electrical wiring problem. So, Lord Tuk Tuk says, as a electrical engineer, you probably think that's silly. That the capsule would just catch on fire and they would die. But they were using a pure oxygen atmosphere inside the capsule, so that's why the flames were so quickly to spread. And on future missions, they used a 20% oxygen atmosphere, I believe, or 25. So it wasn't pure oxygen. And they also had more safety stuff, safety precautions in the vehicle. No, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, they should have hired you. Should have hired your grandfather. He probably was around back then. Send him down to Florida. Have him work on spacecraft. He could, like, swear at them all before they launched. Whatever. Yeah, so I guess that's it. That's all I wanted to do. Have I read any Carl Sagan? I've watched Carl Sagan. and I guess I've probably read a little bit, but yeah, Carl Sagan's cool. We were talking about Carl Sagan and cosmos earlier. I was saying how there's a 24/7 stream of cosmos with Carl Sagan on Twitch, along with 24/7 Bob Ross, The Joy of Painting, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, it's 11:30. I gotta work tomorrow, so thank you all for stopping by the stream. Welcome back to Twitch, Dylan. Hope to see you guys in my streams in the future. Maybe have you guys on the stream someday. And yeah, if you're interested in KSP, there's all sorts of stuff I can send you if you are interested. Links and such. But yeah, for now I'm gonna head to bed. So have a good night, everybody. And yeah, see you later. I'm glad you all enjoyed the stream. It's good to hear.